On Netflix from director Lawrence Kasdan. Yes, that Lawrence Kasdan, who's made just so many like iconic Hollywood films, is a documentary called Marty, Life is Short. And this is a documentary about Martin Short, who I've loved since I was a kid, since I first saw Ed Grimley on that wonderful season of SNL that he was a cast member in. And this is sort of his life story told through a ridiculous amount of original home movie footage and interviews with a lot of his friends. Like Martin Short is somebody who loves showbiz, and you can tell in how he's always spoofing showbiz and his characters and his shows and when he does live events and things like that. And he knows a lot of people in showbiz. So obviously, brief capsule history. He was in Godspell, a very famous Toronto production of Godspell. He was in The Second City. He was on SCTV. So you have all those people which is like the original SNL people. He was had a relationship with Gilda Radner for a while. You see him with the SCTV people, and he was a guy who shot a lot of home videos. He always had a video camera rolling. And always had a lot of people at his house. So there's so much footage here of really big names at his house, just hanging out and him mugging for the camera, and him with his kids and his other kids, and it traces his career, but it also is just, by all accounts, he's a really nice guy. And that's what this really is innumerable people telling you, wow, he's a really nice guy. And it tells you about his relationship and meeting his wife, who is a performer and singer in her own right, and how they were so good together, and their kids that they raised. And ultimately, it's a lot of pain and tragedy too, as his parents both died when he was rather young. His wife died far too soon. And then right before this documentary came out, his daughter passed away. So it's this mix of a guy who's so full of spunk and spirit and silliness and happiness and love, and how, despite all of the tragedy, he had a wonderful family life, and how close he is to his siblings because they were brought closer together by their parents going away. And how he just has been this fearless performer, whether it's Ed Grimley or his Jerry Lewis impersonation, which I've always loved, or Jiminy Glick, or his double act with Steve Martin, which, if you can see it, I know there's recordings of it and there's at least one Netflix special, but if you can see them live, it's amazingly hilarious. It's just, and he's just this, I want to say song and dance man. He does it all, and this documentary shows that. There's no gigantic revelations other than all of the tragedy in his life. There's some really great footage where he and Tom Hanks recreate the cliff jumping scene from the end of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but Tom Hanks is doing it as Forrest Gump and Martin Short, all out of costume. They're just in their bathing suits because they're about to jump off the edge of a yacht. Martin Short is doing it as Ed Grimley, and Tom Hanks is doing it as Forrest Gump, and it's really pretty hilarious. So it's really, really cool. I highly recommend it. I would have been happy if it was even longer. Streaming on Netflix is Marty, Life is Short.